real world. Let's dive deep into the issues that affect our communities, revealing the untold stories and giving you a voice. No sensationalism, no bias, just raw, unadulterated truth. I am committed to delivering news without compromise. Hard facts as we know them, when we know them, and how they affect you. Every Monday through to Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. This will be your most authentic news experience starting now on 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk. Are you curious about what's happening in the world of politics beyond your borders? Tune into Global Review as we bring you the latest political stories from across the globe.
Many Palestinians, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians, are forced off their land by that conflict. So one starting fact is 5.9 million Palestinians are refugees.
But what we don't realize is that what's happening in the Congo is happening in back here as well. 6 million people, over 6 million people have died in the Congo because it's the same conflict, right? In the DRC, we have militia groups, we have neighborhood trees, but why are they fighting? Why people die is to get control of our resources.
Join me, Okon, as we dive deep into the most pressing issues, uncovering the truth and analyzing the impact on a global scale. From the corridors of power in Washington to the bustling streets of Accra, we've got you covered. We'll take you on a journey through different political systems, exploring the challenges and triumphs of the nations near and far. Hear from world leaders, experts, newsmakers, and everyday citizens as they share their perspective, providing a comprehensive overview of the political landscape. Tune in every Thursday, 4 to 5 p.m. on Hard Facts to be a part of the global conversation on 99.3 Nigeria Info. All right, welcome to Global Review. 5 minutes gone past the 4 o'clock hour. It's time for us to go outside the borders of Nigeria. And Global Review, we talk about everything that's happening outside of Nigeria. We go beyond the borders. We discuss issues from Nairobi to Accra, Ghana, even go as far as Palestine. And my guest is joining me via Zoom this evening. But most importantly, we're going to be looking at and addressing issues of humanitarian crisis across the African continent, whether it be forced migration, people having to look for where to move to, dealing with hunger, and of course the issue of refugees. I did read something from the United Nations last week, which actually brought this conversation to mind even before I was able to get my guest on the show. You see pictures of people who are running away from the conflict in the DRC. Let's not even start to talk about the Tigray situation that started way back in 2020, that escalated. Even Sudan. I was in Uganda, I think in 2022, and I visited these refugee camps, and majority of the people in those camps were from Sudan. Well, my guest, surprisingly, is Nigerian, and she is the executive director of the Human Rights Watch Africa region. I want to be sure that I'm pronouncing your name properly, Ma. So let me let me attempt it quickly. Her name is Mausi Segun. I hope I got it right. It's so good to have you join us. Did I get it right or I got it wrong? I can't hear you. I think you're muted. You're muted. Yes. Okay. Now we can.
Yeah. Okay. You did a good job. Prove yourself to be a Nigerian.
Okay. Oh, well, lovely.
And the comment, why is surprising that she's a Nigerian?
Oh, no. So it's not surprising because I've met a lot of United Nations people who are Nigerian. But for me, I thought it was just going to be a different person. But when I heard the name, I was like, yay. Okay. It's so good to have you join us. And thank you for your patience. Like I said, part of my field work when I was doing my postgraduate diploma in conflict, politics and conflict resolution, peace and conflict resolution, I beg your pardon. One of the places I visited in East Africa was Uganda, which houses the most refugees in Africa. And I didn't know that until I was, in Uganda. I visited, spots in Rwanda. We talked to people who were survivors of the conflict way back. We also went to other places anyway. But what stuck out for me was the Sudanese. There were so many of them. I spoke with young men who had so many dreams. Some of them wanted to play basketball on the international scene. We saw women who were graduates at the time in their country, and now they're homeless. They can barely feed. And these are stories that really touch you, and you really wonder, why do we even go to war? Why do we even have this crisis? Why don't we nib it in the bud before it even starts? And that's why we're having this conversation. So first things first, why has the issue of this crisis in Africa continued, without any stop? For some people, we thought that the situation in the Central African Republic was the worst until we saw what happened in Tigray. And now we're still looking at what's happening in Sudan. Why do you think that these conflicts have continued and there's not been any way to address it or even put a stop to it?
I think if I can jump in right at that question, it would be that we haven't found ways, and this is not an African problem. We haven't found ways as human beings to resolve differences. In this case, mostly political differences, in a way that doesn't result to violence. And so violence continues to be the mechanism of choice for settling some of this contestation, whether it's over access to power, access to land, access to resources, and then you throw all of that into the mix of the emerging climate crisis that we have across the world, and Africa is one of the worst hit in that context. And there is also that nexus between that climate crisis or what I would call in human rights parlance, extreme weather conditions that have affected people's ability to feed themselves, to water their farms, to get pasture for their livestock. It means that those resources are now limited, and the room for conflict and contestations over access to those limited resources almost always spill over into violence, and then you have, the political mechanisms in individual countries, sub-regional mechanisms, African Union level mechanisms, if we bring it down to Africa, not functioning as they should. We have, myriads of legal infrastructure, whether it's be laws or treaties or conventions that make provision for how best to ensure that we do not devolve to violence that will harm ordinary people. But no, we continue to go full circle around these issues. When the conflicts happen, violations occur, people are killed, lives are lost, livelihoods are destroyed. People have no means for ensuring that someone accounts for what happened to them and clears a pathway to avoid them in the future. So you have the early warning systems failing, or where the systems do not fail, they are not adhered to. People ignore them. The signs are almost always there that this situation is going to escalate into violence or full conflict, but they are completely ignored for whatever reason. And then you have these situations where people are forced to flee from their homes, sometimes with just the clothes on their back, or sometimes with nothing on their backs. Flee to different communities where they are either, Africans are very hospitable. A lot of when we're calculating the number of displaced people and refugees within the continent, we fail to take into account those who are taking refuge with friends, with unknown people in the next villages, in the next communities, with their mother's family. No one accounts for them. I remember working on the conflict in Nigeria's northeast some years ago, and it was that many people, individuals who have not very low resources of their own, were hosting one family, a family of three. Wow. A man, his wife, and child, were hosting 47 people in their one-room apartment.
No,
but that number was never captured in the demographics.
Wow.
So the hospitality, the being your brother's keeper, the Ubuntu, I am because you are, all of those philosophies that Africans are there too. It means that sometimes we're not capturing the correct data.
Absolutely.
So data is one thing. The response is another. And we can get to that in a bit.
We'll get to that. Let me tell you the statistics that I got that got me thinking about this humanitarian issue and the fact that people keep moving from place to place. I saw it on the UN post. I think it was on Instagram. It said that more than 7 million people have been displaced since the war broke out in Sudan in April 2023. And we're not talking about the previous wars. We're talking about this one in 2023. And also, I got another statistic from a journalist, Bridget Schwartz, who said, she's not a journalist actually, I think she works with the BBC. She said more than 200 people have starved to death since July in Edaga, Arbi, that's in Ethiopia's drought-hit and war-scarred Tigray region. She said the country's food crisis could become as bad as or worse than 40 years ago if there isn't prompt action. Let's talk about the prompt action here, because you said, it's people who have refused to consider the outcome or the aftermath of these wars that have continued to wage these wars. What is the prompt action? Because you and I are having this conversation. We don't know what's happening in neighboring Chad and what could, make anything to break out there. So what would be a prompt, action to deal with issues like this, especially for the drought in Tigray?
I mean, so let's let a good picture of what the scale of the problem. 11 countries in Africa have a humanitarian crisis.
Wow.
That is people who are unable to feed themselves, people who could die of hunger in the next 24 hours. Across Africa, when you're looking at the numbers, the displacement numbers across the region is between 20 to 25 million people who have no homes of their own, have no resources to take care of themselves. Now, what is the urgent action? Again, like I said, Africa has amazing mechanisms and laws. So, for example, the 1969 Organization of African Unity, because it's 1969 Convention, Refugee Convention, is probably one of the most progressive conventions when it comes to the protection of refugees. So we do not lack laws. We do not lack legal standards to ensure that action can be taken. It is the lack of political will. That's one. The lack of political will to implement this wonderful law that we African leaders signed up to. It does not have a counterpart in the world. Even the UN Convention does not go as far as the OAU Convention, or we can call it the AU Convention now because we're in 2024. It doesn't go as far as that. The other is the resources. How, I was saying on another show just a week ago that Africa has many very poor countries, and people were like, no, the problem is not poverty. The problem is the mismanagement of the resources that Africa does have. So obviously, we tend to look elsewhere for support to provide humanitarian assistance. So we basically look to the United Nations. We look to other countries to provide the resources to feed Africans who have been endangered as a result of our own negligence, willfulness, and sometimes just deliberate actions. And so if you say what is urgent is that in this conflict, you talked about Tigray. You talked about, so that's Ethiopia. You talk about northern Ethiopia, from November 2022, the conflict there has ceased officially by the cessation of hostilities agreement between the Eritrean forces and the Ethiopian government. But what we have is that the number of displaced people has not reduced. One, Eritrean forces remain in Tigray, still carrying out horrible human rights abuses, including extrajudicial and other unlawful killings. Wow. They are still raping women, carrying out other horrible forms of sexual violence. They are impeding access to humanitarian assistance. So humanitarian organizations are trying to send trucks in to Tigray to provide sustenance to the people who are still there because they can't go elsewhere. Eritrean forces are not allowing them.
Wow.
And now, like I said, the conflict in Tigray is officially over. But then you have an emerging situation in the Amhara region of the same Ethiopia, where the federal forces are in fighting with Amhara militias, the Fano. And there you're having people displaced as well, deliberate targeting of people's homes, civilian infrastructure, like hospitals. And you see that across board. You go to Sudan, it's the same thing. The warring factions are targeting those who are providing services. Doctors are not safe. Hospitals are not safe.
Wow.
Ambulances are not safe. And so when you talk about urgent action, the most urgent action that we need is that those who are fighting themselves should obey and adhere to the laws of war, to the laws of international humanitarian law. Avoid direct targeting of civilians, those who are not in active combat, those who are not involved in your fight. Leave them out of it. Leave the hospitals where lives can be saved out of it. Leave food trucks out of it. Don't seize food trucks, because that's what is happening. One side will see the food trucks and say, oh, if we allow it to go into that territory, even though there are displaced people there, it is under the control of the opposing faction. And so they will seize the humanitarian materials, and the hungry people, the dying people, the sick people, people who need just even water, will not get access to them. So we need political action on Africa that one makes it clear that anyone involved in those types of activities will pay a price.
I'm going to ask a question. I know that you're not necessarily in the position to answer it, but it's not necessarily it's a rhetorical question. For example, we're asking the AU members to adhere to a law that they themselves or their predecessors had agreed to, the countries had appended their signatures to. But then they're the same people who are perpetrating these acts of violence in their countries and causing these wars to happen. So, I mean, I'm sorry. Who's going to do what? Who's going to hold who to account?
So yeah, they are in sometimes in active war, but you must in any war situation you must identify and only target those you are combating against. There are ordinary people, old people, people who are infirm, people who have any form of disability, children, women who are not fighting. I know there are women soldiers, there are women fighters, but there are those who are clearly not involved in the fighting. Avoid targeting those. That is why there is regulation of the conduct, the means, and the method of warfare. That's international law. So ensure that those ordinary people who are not involved in your fight, and sometimes I concede that it might not be easy, especially when you have asymmetric wars as we had in Northeast Nigeria, or we still have in Northeast Nigeria or Northern Mozambique, or in Somalia, where ordinary people are the ones who are the militants, or in the Sahel, whether it's in Mali or Burkina Faso or Niger, where armed Islamists have taken up arms against their government. But even those have to comply with the laws of war. Non-state armed actors cannot shoot at civilians. And so, like I said, the only way to ensure that people comply with this is to make sure that when they break them, there are sanctions that apply and hurt them.
I love this conversation. I wish I had all day to have this conversation with you. But before we go on a quick break, talking about sanctions, this is not Africa. It reminds me of what's happening between Israel and Palestine, and, stopping of food or aid to get into Gaza, and, shutting down the internet. And now South Africa went to court, to The Hague to make a case against them. I've heard about the outcome, but who's to say that Israel's going to listen to anyone? So really, this is a worldwide problem where certain powers that be feel that they're so powerful and that the people who die are just victims of war. They're casualties of war, and it doesn't matter to them. And that's where you come in. It's just like you're going to keep singing and screaming at the top of your voice, but no one's going to listen.
They will have to. We will make sure they do.
It's a tough job that you have, I must say. You have a really tough job to do.
I mean, somebody's got to do it. I cannot sleep easy at night if I can't read the news just the same way you read the news and you decided to have this program because you care about human beings. You must care. We all must care enough to push our people, our government, our political leaders to do the right thing and to ensure that there is a price to pay. They are few and far in between, but we are seeing some of those. Those who carried out a massacre in Guinea in 2019 are just facing trial now.
Well, it's a good thing. Let's go on a quick break. We'll be back. We're still talking with the Executive Director of Human Rights Watch, the Africa region. She is still staying with us when we come back from this break. We can ask questions. We can have more of these conversations, and we have to deal with the big-headed monster of war on the continent. We'll be right back.
Lagos, it's a new year and you made it. Yes, but you know how they say that the month of January is so long? Like 2 months in one. And usually you would just say, oh, we move. But wait, hold on. Move where? Is it with Sakpa on the move? Lagos, I'm sure you remember that after dirty December comes clear-eye January. So please, where do you want to move to without money? How do you want to do it? Well, you don't need to bother your head because I've come with your solution. Yes, oneplay.ng. Lagos, you heard me right. Oneplay.ng. Well, this time around, oneplay.ng has decided to up the stakes. And guess what? You're still playing with 500 naira. The amount on ground now is 120,000 naira to 190,000 naira daily on Nigeria Info. You heard me right. All you have to do to partake in this is just go to oneplay.ng and play with 500 naira. Yes, that's the website, Lagos. www.oneplay.ng and play with 500 naira, and your name could be the name of the next winner here on Nigeria Info. And if you don't have a smartphone, calm down, not to worry. All you have to do is dial *347 *880 *3#. And if you know that you can't follow the code and you don't like the instructions that are coming after the code, well, you can avoid the stress. All you have to do is go to the website at www.oneplay.ng. There's money to be won on Morning Crossfire. There's also money to be won on WhatsApp Lagos. There's money to be won on Sunnyside, I know. And there's also extra money to be won on Game On. So Lagos, what are you waiting for? What is your issue there? Don't complain about Sapa. The more you play, the better your chances of winning. Remember, dial *347 *880 *3#, *347 *880 *3#, or you just go to the website at www.oneplay.ng and win yourself some of that money. Don't let this opportunity pass you by, Lagos. Like I say, I could have won a lot, but I'm giving this to you. So please, make good use of it and thank me later. This is
Meals have a way of taking us on a journey. And when you add plenty of vegetables like efo, ugu, and season with the rich taste of North seasoning cubes, even better.
So, go ahead and elevate your meals with more vegetables and the rich taste of Knorr cubes. Today, eat for good.
Are you ready for some morning magic? Tune in and turn it up, Lagos. From 10 a.m. to 12 noon, it's time for the ultimate morning delight. Get ready to join Feta and Stretch on the airwaves. We are bringing you the happiest side of radio. Oh, yeah? With talk that is seriously funny, serious conversations, and those that are, well, not quite conversations. It's Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, only on 99.3 Nigeria Info. So get ready, because it's time to find out what's up, Lagos! Who says you can't have it all with one play? I got the Take the fine boy. You have just won yourself
20,000! Congratulations!
Hello, good morning.
Yes, Mellitus. One player, don't talk to two players because you won 20K.
So now you won yourself 20,000 naira.
My name is Well Done.
Okay, well done. You want to tell you well done. You won yourself 20,000 naira.
With 500 naira, you can play to win big. From 120,000 naira to 190,000 naira daily on Nigeria Info. Go to oneplay.ng and play with 500 naira. And in a few seconds, your ticket is in the draw. Or dial *347 *880 *3#. Win daily on Nigeria Info. 50,000 naira on Morning Crossfire. 60,000 naira on WhatsApp Lagos. 20,000 naira on Sunnyside. And 60,000 naira on Game On. So Lagos, what are you waiting for? The more you play, the better your chances of winning. Remember to dial *347 *880 *3#. Play responsibly. Not suitable for persons under the age of 18.
Collins, your eyes are always sharp and clear despite your prolonged stay on the computer. What's your secret?
My guy, it is Visual Gain, my nutritional eye support. Visual Gain, an eye antioxidant effective in the management and prevention of glaucoma and cataract. A balanced formula for healthy eyes and good vision. A perfect blend of lutein, bilberry fruit extract, zeaxanthin, vitamin A, and zinc. It protects the eyes from harmful UV rays. It prevents and treats dry, red, and irritable eyes. It also maintains image clarity, visual acuity, and reduces eye fatigue. Marketed and distributed by Almond Ethicals Limited, a registered trademark of Gain World. Available in pharmacies near you.
Use Visual Gain today to maintain a healthy eye.
Big Boo Rice. Big Boo Rice, yeah, in the pot. 7 it up, I stay hot. Stone free premium parboiled rice. Big Boo in the pot. So nutritious and tasty. Serve it up with style. A cooking delight for that great party jollof rice. Big Boo Rice, yeah.
Big Boo long grain parboiled rice contains protein and fiber, a source of vitamin B, and is great for all rice dishes. Big Boo Rice, tasty rice, nourished you.
Connection is very important, especially when it's strong, and you don't realize this until you are cut off. Keep your connection strong at home or on the go with Airtel Home Broadband Internet. Get any of our devices like the 7,500 MiFi or the 10,000 router with instant 30 gigabytes or the 20,000 router with instant 100 gigabytes. Hurry to the nearest Airtel shop or visit www.airtel.com.ng/HBB to get started.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
That special secret that awakens taste buds. Mouth-watering wonder with awesome aroma. Terra Seasoning Cubes.
Terra Seasoning Cube turns your meals into a masterpiece.
Unwrap joy, unleash taste. Hey, come cook with Terra Cubes. Come cook with Terra.
It's due you December. That means making statements your way, just like the queens of Real Housewives of Lagos. So just relax, because it's about you enjoying top-tier entertainment like Wura, Agu, School Run, and so much more. Only on Showmax. Do You December is also for the young ones and international movie lovers. Do You with SpongeBob, Fast X, and No Hard Feelings this festive, anywhere, anytime, without interruptions. Do You December is all about you. Subscribe now to showmax.com.
So that's how we go to the restaurant too. And it was
Sore throat is often caused by bacteria and viruses. It feels like you're having a party in your throat. You need Strepsils. It soothes the pain, plus it fights the germs with 2 germ-killing actives. Dual antibacterial action in one lozenge.
As I was saying, it was amazing.
Bye-bye sore throat. Take Strepsils. If symptoms persist after 3 days, please consult a doctor.
It is easier to talk of poverty than to think of the poor.
Godfather, to negotiate with the European Union by December this year, 4,000 MOUs will be deployed in Europe.
To create a minimum standard of life below which no human being can fall is the elementary duty of the democratic state.
Kill corruption in our society. Let be poor. Breathe. Don't suffocate them.
133 million Nigerians in multi-dimensional poverty is an open veldt.
We're seeing in Nigeria today, it's a tragedy that we are all witnessing because as we see things falling apart, the pressure instead is corruption.
And the people rail.
So the poor now is choking. The poor is suffocating.
Against politicians who equivocate.
People are not going to vote because everybody's angry with the government.
Theorize, postulate, dramatize.
I cannot vote anybody. I cannot vote for anybody again.
While the trite politics reduce even our very culture to the level of our poverty. And so, you must know that not chance, not odds, but choice is the most fortunate of our options. The people must choose the state. On Nigeria Info. Coming soon.
I'm here. Let's record.
Wow! I almost didn't recognize you.
Have I changed that much?
Your skin is simply brilliant.
Oh, yes. Idol Lightning Exfoliating Soap. It's my secret to clear, beautiful skin.
You look ready for your music video.
Idol Lightning Exfoliating Soap. Be bold, be beautiful, be Idol. Idol also comes in carrot and papaya variants. Idol is NAFDAC approved.
As you see me so, I belong to the Chop Better gang. Now, why anytime I want chop like this, I dey put better things inside. For my yam porridge, after I don't put my fish, I go con deck am with onions, tatashe and ugu, con season am with correct no cubes for that delicious taste. Because my people, good life na life where you chop better.
Summer all your food with correct vegetables. Come season am with no cubes for that ogbonge delicious taste. Today, chop better.
Connection is very important, especially when it's strong, and you don't realize this until you are cut off. Keep your connection strong at home or on the go with Airtel Home Broadband Internet. Get any of our devices like the 7500 MiFi or the 10,000 router with instant 30 gigabytes or the 20,000 router with instant 100 gigabytes. Hurry to the nearest Airtel shop or visit www.airtel.com.ng/HBB to get started.
Airtel, a reason to imagine.
No matter what I do, you love me unconditionally. You show up for me every day. No matter when I show you.
A mother's love is unconditional. Nothing serves this love better than a bowl of Indomie. So, show some love with Indomie.
Show me love. You show me love.
Are you ready for some morning magic? Tune in and turn it up, Lagos. From 10 a.m. to 12 noon, it's time for the ultimate morning delight. Get ready to join Feta and Stretch on the airwaves. We are bringing you the happiest side of radio. Oh, yeah? Yeah! With talk that is seriously funny, serious conversations, and those that are, well, not quite conversations. It's Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 12 noon, only on 99.3 Nigeria Info. So get ready because it's time to find out what's up, Lagos!
There's a world of excitement with the front row seats to thrilling adventures, heart-pounding action, spine-tingling drama, and toe-curling rom-coms, all at your fingertips. Sink into that comfy seat and brace yourself. Home is where it happens. Find Home on Netflix from 1,200 Naira monthly.
Every parent wants to see their child growing up happy and healthy. Introducing Renzo Vitamins for Kids, a secret to your child's daily nutrition and boundless joy. With Renzo Vitamins, your child will have the energy to embrace every moment and unlock their full potential. Give your child a head start in life with Renzo Vitamins for Kids, because a happy child is a healthy child.
Hello, friends. My name is Bolaji Dewo. I am the pastor of Harvest International Christian Center.
One of my deep desires is for people to experience God and have personal encounters with God that will lead to personal revivals and also breakthroughs in their life. I don't know where you are. Maybe you're in a place where you're overwhelmed and life has taken a toll on you and you have lost your spiritual passion. Or maybe you're in a place where you have prayed and yet your marriage is not settled. Your health is caving in. I want to invite you to Wine Press. Wine Press for us has become a place where man meets and have a divine encounter with God. Wine Press has become a place where the supernatural power of God invades human space. Something is going to happen to you that will change your life forever. This Wine Press has your name on it.
From January 24th to 26th, join us at Tafawa Balewa Square, TBS, Okon, Lagos. We start at 5 p.m. God is waiting to bless you.
Oh yeah, give me confirm. Turn it up loud. Keep it confirm. 9 times bonus. Very confirm. God data text. Very confirm.
Enjoy 9 confirms with 1,000 Naira. Activation bonus 900% bonus on every recharge. Double data bonus on your first month recharge and a whopping 100% data bonus for 6 months. Get a new SIM or dial *1400# to migrate.
9 Mobile.
Be a part of conversations that affect you, mothers, as well as your child on Maternity Line Show, where Zainab unearths motherhood through unique stories in reproductive health.
Pregnancy is quite challenging for me. For the first pregnancy, I had to deliver at 32 weeks.
I hit my tummy on the cervix and immediately I was rushed to the hospital.
How about asking questions that benefit your child, babies, and toddlers?
Immunization for children has a lot of benefits. You vaccinate your child till the 15th month. Most parents stop at 6 months when their babies stop breastfeeding.
On the show that features experts and professionals across maternal and child health. Join Zainab as she amplifies voices of women for better physical, mental, and social well-being. We discuss parenting.
My kid is a bit older now. When he was younger, it was a bit more stressful, but now we kind of work with each other.
My name is Hugo. Thank you for bringing up this topic. So I'm a single mother.
And even hand the mic over to allies who are men and fathers, creating better outcome for child and maternal practices. Join Zainab Fridays 12:15 p.m. on 99.3 Nigeria Info on Maternity Line Show, an all-encompassing medium for every woman, mothers and aspiring mothers.
When you wake up on the wrong side of your bed, you wake up with a bad mood. It can affect your car. Before you know it, when you sleep on the wrong mattress, you'd always wake up on the wrong side of the bed. Sleep good and start your day right with Vitafoam's range of great quality mattresses and furniture. Visit www.vitafoamng.com or any of our authorized distributors nationwide. Vitafoam, the fine art of living.
To cook correct food, they always give me joy. That's now why anytime I they cook like this, I they always season them with no cubes. Come add correct vegetables inside. Ugu, tatasheo, shombo, onions. No one I know they put. Now he make my pikin them, they always enjoy my cooking.
Daddy, I never will. I want more.
You see?
Sama all your food with correct vegetables. Come season them with no cubes for that ubonge delicious taste. Today, chop better.
Guy, if I tell you all this plenty airtime and data, who are they take flex? Now dash glow dash me, you go believe.
Dash get for this kind of economy. I beg you.
Diana, as I buy my glow sim like this spirit, I first collect 1,000 naira welcome bonus. Sarah. As I come recharge, bam, glow knock me 10 times airtime bonus. I also enjoy double data. Join.
Wait, you mean 1,000 naira welcome bonus?
Yes.
Plus 10 times airtime bonus?
Yes.
Plus double data again?
Yes.
Papa, where's universe now?
The glow break at the universe now. You want try?
Oh, more. No wonder boys they flex anyhow on top phone 247 non-stop. Hey, I talk
My people, not let grass grow under your Lego. Go get your glow sim today. Dial *777# to buy and enjoy 10 times airtime bonus plus up to double data. Offer day for both new and existing subscribers there.
Glow Unlimited.
As a mom preparing for a big family party, what's the right soup that goes well with Golden Penny Semovita? A. Eforiru. B. Me and Taushe. C. Oha. D. All of the above.
All of the above.
Final answer?
Final answer.
Correct. Yes,
Golden Penny Semovita is my soup's first choice. Made with premium wheat and enriched with vitamins. It's the right combo for Nigerian soups. Golden Penny Semovita, my soup's first choice.
Let me explain why I switched my company's healthcare partner to Reliance HMO. Our old partner didn't process payments in time, so we had delayed access to care. It meant that I had to add sorting out team members' medical issues to my many HR responsibilities. Can you imagine? Reliance HMO solved these issues but didn't stop there. Their app allows us to connect to a doctor 24/7 via an internet connection. It even gets better. After consultation, the prescribed drugs are delivered free of charge. Yes, managing the healthcare of my large staff team is easier than ever. I registered everyone in the shortest possible time. Why wouldn't I choose them? Make a smart choice like me. Choose Reliance HMO today.
For more information, call 0700 735 42623. Reliance HMO, the next generation HMO for business.
Win big with First Bank. 170 million naira up for grabs. Open an account, deposit 5,000 naira for 30 days. Transact 5 times on our digital channels and stand a chance to win 100,000 naira monthly. Or deposit 50,000 naira monthly for 4 months for a chance to be the 1 million naira grand finale winner. Join First Bank's Win Big promo now. This promo runs till February 23rd, 2024. Open to new and existing account holders. Terms and conditions apply. You first. First Bank.
Did you know that at Wigwe University, highly knowledgeable and experienced professors are waiting to take you through the course of your choice in any of the faculties: engineering, arts, sciences and computing, management and social sciences? Did you also know that some of the next generation of fearless African leaders are all going there?
Don't miss the opportunity to make history. Wigwe University is now open for admission into the 2024-2025 session. Visit www.wigweuniversity.edu.ng for more information now.
It is easier to talk of poverty than to think of the poor.
To negotiate with the European Union by December this year, 4,000 MOUs will be deployed in Europe.
To create a minimum standard of life below which no human being can fall is the elementary duty of the democratic state.
Kill corruption in our society. Let's be poor. Breathe. Don't suffocate them.
133 million Nigerians in multi-dimensional poverty is an open belt.
We're seeing in Nigeria today, it's a tragedy that we are all witnessing, because as we see things falling apart, the pressure instead is corruption.
And the people rail.
So the poor now is choking. The poor is suffocating.
Against politicians who equivocate.
People are not going to vote because everybody's angry with the government.
Theorize, postulate, dramatize.
I cannot vote anybody. Cannot vote for anybody again.
While the trite politics reduce even our very culture to the level of our poverty. And so, you must know that not chance, not odds, but choice is the most fortunate of our options. The people must choose the state. On Nigeria Info. Coming soon.
Oh yeah, give me confirm. Turn it up loud. Keep it confirm. 9 times bonus. Very confirm. All data text. Very confirm.
Enjoy 9 confirms with 1,000 naira. Activation bonus 900% bonus on every recharge. Double data bonus on your first month recharge and a whopping 100% data bonus for 6 months. Get a new SIM or dial *1400# to migrate.
9 Mobile. Introducing the Domino's More Menu, which has 4 pizza flavors and 4 sides.
Deluxe pizza, pepperoni pizza, barbecue sausage with mayo pizza, fire breather, mega fire breather, made for me, made for you, so let's enjoy. Domino's Pizza, more flavors, more value, more Domino's, more pizza, more flavors, more value, more Domino's, more pizza.
Products available in all Domino's Pizza stores, online and on 090-8888-9999.
Discover Lipton's flavorful and balanced taste.
With our unique expertise, we select fine quality tea leaves from selected tea gardens around the world. Experience Lipton Yellow Label's flavorful and balanced taste in every sip. Discover Lipton's flavorful and balanced taste.
I love my job as an HR manager, but I also love my weekends because I get to relax, spend time with family, and catch up with all the latest TV shows. But it's hard to relax when my phone is always buzzing. I have to sort out health-related issues for my colleagues because our HMO account rep is unreachable. Imagine my relief after signing with Reliance HMO and I have not received a single call from a colleague about any weekend issues. Even better, they can't stop telling me how glad they are that we've switched to a healthcare partner that's there when we need them. Now, I can finally enjoy my weekends, confident my team is cared for. Thank you, Reliance HMO, for giving me back my weekends. Sign up with Reliance HMO today.
For more information, call 0700 735 42623. Reliance HMO, the next generation HMO for business.
Win big with First Bank. 170 million naira up for grabs. Open an account, deposit 5,000 naira for 30 days. Transact 5 times on our digital channels and stand a chance to win 100,000 naira monthly. Or deposit 50,000 naira monthly for 4 months for a chance to be the 1 million naira grand finale winner. Join First Bank's Win Big promo now. This promo runs till February 23rd, 2024. Open to new and existing account holders. Terms and conditions apply. You first. First Bank.
No matter what I do, you love me unconditionally. You show up for me every day, no matter when I show you.
A mother's love is unconditional. Nothing serves this love better than a bowl of Indomie. So, show some love with Indomie.
We're back. Welcome back to Hard Facts.
This is Hard Facts.
All right, we're back from that long break. It was still talking global review, and my guest has been waiting patiently. I want to appreciate her for her patience. She's the executive director of Human Rights Watch Africa Division, Mausi Segun. And we've been talking about, all of the humanitarian crises across the continent. And she's most importantly talked about political will to adhere to the laws of war. And there are people who would say that when it comes to war, there are no laws. But because I have very limited time, let's quickly address going forward and making your job easier. Do you have people from Human Rights Watch in the different governments in the different countries advocating on your behalf, speaking to them, and not just Human Rights Watch as a whole, wherever it is? Do you have people, do you lobby these governments to try to, get them to see things from your perspective and humanize these people who are being displaced?
Indeed, we do have people in all of the countries that we cover, but not just the countries, all of the important human rights institutions and political institutions where the very serious decision making and policy making happen. We have access to all of them. But we're not campaigners, we don't just try to steal headlines. What we do the research, we present them with the facts from the ground. And so that means, for me, for example, in Africa, more than half of my team, the team of researchers who are digging into issues in this country, talking directly to the people who are affected. And then we take that message, the reports that we generate from their research, directly to the policymakers with very strong and clear, and I want to believe achievable recommendations. But, as you said, we can't do it on our own. So there is an entire constellation of other advocates, other organizations whether it's domestic civil society organizations, advocacy organizations, there are other partner international organizations. I mean, there are many who can't say what we say. We channel their messaging. There are people in the countries where it is not safe for them to speak out. We take that message and we take it directly to those who can make change happen. And does change happen? It does. Although most often than not, it is incremental change. I give you the example of Guinea, for example. The massacre of 150 people in that stadium happened since September 2009. It's taken every year working with local civil society organizations in Guinea, but as well as victim groups, those who lost family members there, friends, those who witnessed anything. They formed themselves into groups. So it's more or less us working in support and in tandem with all of these other groups to insist. Everywhere that the Guinean government went, they were faced with, these advocates, though we are not campaigners, but other campaigners who are insisting, those who died, there must be accountability. And, it took years. This year is exactly 15 years that it happened. But they are in court. They are in court. They are facing trial. And the victims have the opportunity to tell their stories to the court and have a adjudication of what happened to them. Let the courts decide.
Okay.
So we're not asking for a lynch mob to descend on people. Go through the systems
and then get the right things done. I'm so sorry. Unfortunately, our time is fast spent and we have to go. But I really want to have you back sometime soon. Please promise me that you'll come back sometime soon and let's talk more about this. Okay.
I promise. If you reach out, I will make time.
Perfect. Mausi, Segun is the Executive Director of Human Rights Watch Africa Region. A pleasure to have you on the show and a great work that you're doing. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right, Lagos, that's it on this segment. We're going to go on a break. And when we come back on the other side, we're going to be talking A's and nays, legislation on guns and mining.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk. 99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk. 99.3